From a Canadian comedian licking a reporter's ear during a live report to a stray kitten breaking into a TV set. Check out today's rare moments caught on camera. During the 2014 World Artistic Gymnastics Championships held in Nanning, China, a completely unusual scene left a lasting impression on viewers, and for good reason. The winner of the competition is the very famous Simone Biles, had on this occasion the bad surprise to be attacked by a bee while she was on the podium. The American was warned of this unwanted intrusion by the Vice Championship of the World, Larissa Lordash. The latter told her that the bee was on her bouquet. Panic-stricken, Simone Biles immediately reacted by trying to chase the bee away. Unfortunately for her, this complicated the situation, since the insect started to turn around this time. At this point, the athlete tried to flee as best she could without success. Fearing a sting, she decided to temporarily throw her bouquet on the ground before taking it back to return to the podium to take refuge with her neighbor. But it was not finished. After that, the bee had taken refuge in the bouquet of her compatriot, Kayla Ross, who in turn got rid of it. Finally, the scene ended with a photo of the three winners, who, one imagines, were relieved not to have received any bee stings. On the other hand, this unusual intrusion made for a scene that was as memorable as it was incredibly funny. In fact, it obviously made Simone Biles and the other two winners laugh a lot. Now, this video sequence has made the rounds of the web. In mid-November 2020, Jonathan Ashworth in Leicester, England, gave a very eventful television interview. Indeed, this politician, who is also Secretary of State for Health, was live on Sky News when something unexpected happened. While answering questions from journalist Sophie Ridge about the COVID-19 vaccine, Jonathan Ashworth quickly realized that his umbrella was becoming difficult to control because of the gusts of wind. Despite this, he tried to keep smiling as if nothing was wrong, but things didn't go as planned. Yes, the gust of winds finally got the better of his umbrella, which turned completely upside down, and he was not at the end of his surprises, because at that moment the projector that was lighting him for his television performance fell on him. Fortunately, the politician had the reflex to catch it before it hit him in the face. So this is definitely an unusual situation. Nevertheless, it apparently amused the journalist who was on the set of the channel. After all, it is not every day that a light falls on a politician in the middle of an interview. Hours before the soccer match with Portugal and Hungary, on June 22, 2016, in Lyon, Cristiano Ronaldo was likely in a very bad mood. Thus, when journalists from Portuguese television CMTV tried to interview him to ask about his feelings before the match, the star of the football snatched the microphone before throwing it into a stream next to where he was walking with his teammate, an incident that, obviously, left the journalist dumbfounded. But then, why did Cristiano Ronaldo have such a reaction to such an innocent question, would you say? In fact, the Portuguese media published several information about the private life of the footballer, including the birth of his son. Since then, Cristiano Ronaldo decided not to answer any more questions from Correio da Manhã, which, following this event, demanded a formal apology from the famous sportsman. Meanwhile, the reporters of the media have not been discouraged for all that. 10 days after the incident, and with the help of two divers, they finally found their microphone. But it is doubtful that they can use it again to interview CR7, especially since the managers of the channel have decided to put his equipment up for auction, with the profits going to charity. In 2012, spectators at the US Open golf tournament witnessed a comical scene, to say the least. At the end of the major Grand Slam tournament, the American winner, Webb Simpson, was interviewed by journalist Bob Costas. So far, so good. But while he was quietly answering questions, the golfer was suddenly interrupted by a strange bird. And not just any bird. It was actually a fan who, probably looking for a few seconds of fame, placed himself right in front of the camera before starting to imitate the bird call. The security services did not allow the birdman to croak any longer, however, as they promptly removed him from the camera's view. However, this unexpected comical scene did not seem to disturb the reporter too much. After a little joke, he just resumed his interview normally. As for Webb Simpson, he also took the whole thing as a joke. On his Twitter account, he even introduced him as his new friend. It seems that the strange moment has left a mark on the professional golfer, and he is not the only one. On social networks, this improbable scene has also amused many internet users. During a live report, the Canadian journalist Chris Glover found himself in a truly embarrassing situation. While he was answering questions from his studio colleague, Dwight Drummond, from the Comedy Bar in Toronto, Canada, the man came and disrupted his interview. And that's the least we can say. Indeed, the man in question, that several internet users have identified as the comedian Boyd Banks, decided to lick the ear of the correspondent on the television channel CBC. And that's not all. Obviously, in a state of inebriation, he went even further, since he also kissed the neck of the journalist several times. Very embarrassed, Chris Glover was thus forced to finish as soon as possible his report to leave the bar, and especially to get away from Boyd Banks, whose behavior was quickly condemned by internet users, but also the spokesman of CBC, Chuck Thompson. The latter rightly declared, Chris Glover showed remarkable composure and professionalism in a very delicate situation. Unfortunately, the trend of harassing journalists continues, and we take it very seriously. It is this reason that Chris Glover finally decided to file a complaint against the comedian. Faced with such a situation, Boyd Banks offered his deepest apologies to the journalist. "There is no apology for my behavior last night. I am guilty of everything," he had assured. Not sure, however, that he gets out of it so easily. During the program Good Morning Denizli in Turkey, the presenter kitten Silaybu had to welcome a visitor as unexpected as exceptional. Indeed, the host was presenting the news live when she saw a stray cat appear out of nowhere. But rather than trying to repel the kitten, which had settled comfortably on the laptop, the host preferred to let the animal feel at home. kitten Silaybu even took advantage of this rare opportunity to pass on a message to raise awareness among viewers to help animals more often. "As you know them, winter is coming fast and the cold is setting in quickly," she said. "We should open our doors to stray cats and give them food and water," he added. And to set an example, the show's team took in the kitten for a while, before an employee decided to adopt it outright, what certainly inspired the internet users to do the same. In any case, they were numerous to comment this video sequence, which, let's admit it, is quite memorable. On the occasion of the program A Current Affair, journalists of the Channel 9 News interviewed Ray Graham, 57 years old, about the aggressive dog present in the neighborhood in Marsfield, northwest of Sydney, Australia. And it must be said that they might have been better off not doing so. The reason? Well, the man gave viewers a terrifying demonstration of dog aggression. Indeed, to give more weight to his assertions, Ray Graham decided to imitate their barking. Nothing but that.
Handing over.
At this moment, his wife, shocked by his performance, could not help but smile. And as one could suspect, this video sequence is, since its diffusion, quickly become cult. Various internet users have even used this imitation of a bad dog to make parody videos. From now on, he is considered a real celebrity. So much so that he claimed that several people stopped him at the supermarket so that he would repeat his famous barking. We have to admit that the one who is rightly named Dogman by the media has at least the merit to have succeeded in convincing journalists of the aggressiveness of dogs in his neighborhood. As a bonus, they've also made him very popular in Australia, if not the whole world. During a report in front of the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem, a Swedish journalist of the TV4 channel fell victim to the hazards of live broadcasting. Indeed, while he was presenting his program, the man was suddenly interrupted by an Israeli woman who, apparently, had not seen the camera. The woman had placed herself right in front of the journalist before shouting several times, "Herzl!" the name of her grandson. Finally, the grandmother realized that she was being filmed by a camera and decided to step aside. However, she probably didn't yet suspect that she had just appeared on television, and even less that her video sequence will make millions of views on social network. Anyway, this incredible moment has amused the journalists and film crew who, obviously, have found the situation very hilarious. And we understand why. Zorbing is an activity that has become very popular across the Atlantic. It is in fact a plastic ball in which a person can enter through a narrow sleeve in order to be carried away by the speed. Strong sensations guaranteed. However, the Zorb presents real dangers, especially for those who are in the way of the giant balloon. And it is not this journalist who will say the opposite. As soon as she started to present her show, she was interrupted in a way that was as surprising as it was comical, and for good reason. While the young woman was in the middle of the greenery, one of the balloons appeared right behind her before suddenly hitting her. Caught off guard, the journalist found herself lying on the ground. Without further ado, the team members intervened to help her. Fortunately, the young woman escaped unharmed, but it was a close call. Raisa Teixeira Melo, a Brazilian model and fitness girl, participated in a live demonstration to show viewers how to apply sunscreen, and it was the presenter of the show who had the heavy task of applying the product on the body of a beautiful brunette in bikini, except that things went wrong very quickly. Indeed, after having asked her permission, the one spread the cream on the belly and the thighs of Raisa. The last then made him notice that the demonstration turned a little too much to the massage, but apparently it was difficult to convince the young man who, taking his role too much to heart, even touched the buttocks of the model. The man concerned got seriously annoyed and made him understand that she didn't want him to touch her at this place. However, he did not seem to have learned his lesson, and a few moments later, when the presenter touched once again the posterior of the young lady, he learned it at his expense. Yes, Raisa Teixeira Melo ended up giving him a nice slap on the face. And the worst is not there. After a brief moment of tension, the model accepted that the man still tries to apply the sunscreen. At this moment, he strangely seized again the opportunity to grope her, a gesture that earned him a new slap. And not only. The young woman also threw the products in his face before leaving the set very angry. On the other hand, it was without having that the host of the show had decided to play a joke on her. Yes, it was all a simple joke. Not sure, however, that it makes everyone laugh. Now it's your turn to tell us in the comments which of these moments surprised you the most. Do you know of any other video sequences that are amazing? Don't hesitate to share them with us. And if you like this video, don't forget to give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive all notifications and not miss anything of our next videos.